Hi there, students. An outburst. Okay, an outburst is normally an explosion of emotion, particularly anger. So there was an outburst of anger, a violent outburst of anger. I guess a violent outbreak of jealousy as well. The comments that I made caused an outburst of anger from the people listening. I guess you could have an outburst of creative activity as well. Okay, so an outburst, a sudden release of strong emotion. There was an angry outburst from the minister. And then I guess you can also have an outburst as in a sudden occurrence of a particular activity. An explosion, if you like. So there was an outburst from the volcano, an eruption. But maybe an outburst of applause. There was an outburst of applause from the audience. So an outburst of tears. Yes, a sudden and violent release. A sudden spell of activity. An outburst of energy. Okay, there was an outburst from the crowd and several people started shouting. A public outburst is like a riot. The government tried to enforce new laws, and there were outbursts at several demonstrations. So it's like an eruption, a boiling up, an explosion of something. But particularly an outburst of anger. There was an outburst of anger from the crowd, and there was an outburst of fighting between demonstrators and the police. Please forgive my outburst yesterday. I got really angry and it wasn't reasonable. Yeah, it was just a sudden outburst of rage. Yeah, a sudden violent release of emotion. The man saw us and started with an outburst of swearing. Yeah, this was clearly an outburst of anger, that something that just started. Okay, so it's an eruption of emotion. It's a flare up. It's something that blows up. So there was a wild outburst of applause. There was an angry outburst from my father. He apologized for his outburst later. His angry outburst startled the journalists present. Okay, so an outburst is like an explosion of something, a surge of activity, an outburst of creative activity. A volcanic outburst, I guess. An outburst of discontent. He was giving a speech and there were various angry outbursts against various American politicians. Okay, so an outburst of emotion, an outburst of anger, a sudden strong expression of that emotion, an outburst of cheering and applause. There was an angry outburst against what the government had done, an outburst of violent activity. Okay, yeah, 5 people were arrested as a result of an outburst of violence. Okay, so an outburst is like an explosion, an eruption, an outbreak, a flare-up, something that blows up. What caused that outburst? Yeah, why did you start shouting at everyone? He later apologized for his outburst. That outburst was a good example of her bad temper. Yeah, that angry outburst was totally unprovoked. his outburst incurred the displeasure of the judge. Um, an outburst an outburst of feeling. Yeah, that everybody was stunned at his outburst of jealousy, a sudden outburst against everybody in the house. So, an outburst, formality. I think I'm going to give it a 5 in formality. I think you could use it just about anywhere. And as to origin, well, it's bursting out, and this is a cognate with, for example, German ausbursten, to burst out. So, enough outburst.